Hello Flosstube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen and this is my fiber web where we talk about cross stitch and sometimes knitting. I do have a little bit of knitting to share today at the end of the episode, but otherwise this is going to be a normal Flosstube. I have some whips to show you, a new start, a couple finishes. Also, for those of you who are returning, here's Bear. He just came and plopped down in his bed right before I hit record. It is still way too hot here in northern Illinois on September 23rd. It's Tuesday. But it is supposed to start to cool off later this week. So he hasn't been in his fluffy bed a whole lot, but apparently he will come sit here while I'm filming for you guys. Okay, so my last, let's see, this is Flosstube number 40 something. My last video was an extra about my October plans. So if you have been here for a while, you might remember that last year for October I did a special event where I spun a tiny decisions wheel and worked on a different Halloween themed project every day of October. So in my last video, if you missed it, I went through the things that I finished from last year, my whips that are remaining, and then some things that I would like to start. I have more things that I would like to start than I have days to start them, so I think I'm going to put more than I need onto a wheel and let fate decide which projects I start this year, with the exception of some that I know I absolutely want to start and I'm going to make sure they get spun. Okay. Also, one of my new starts is planned for a specific day because I'm going to start it with a friend. I will talk about that later. If you would like to work on any of the projects that I'm working on with me, just let me know and we can pick a day to do that as well. Or if you want to wait for the wheel and play along with me, we could do that too. Okay, enough about October. It is still September. So I am hosting a stitch along this month called Gonna Be Owl Right Sal, where you just work on any project with an owl in it. It can be a new start, it can be a whip, and you can keep tagging me after September if you would like, if you're working on owl projects. I would love that. I super duper appreciate everyone who has joined me already. You have been tagging me on Instagram. I've been sharing those stories, or I've been sharing your posts to my stories when I can. A couple of you have emailed me your owl projects, and it has been very fun for me to see. I have found definitely some new patterns that I had not seen before, so I appreciate that. I hope you all are enjoying your owl stitching as much as I have. However, I did stray a little bit from my own Sal, so I have not only been working on owls, and I have not worked on nearly as many owl projects as I thought I would. Look at this gray hair just sticking out. Okay, yes. Anyway, I have not done any of my crewel embroidery kits that I said I should do because they're quick. I haven't done any of them. I haven't fully finished any owls. There are still a few days left in September, so there's a chance, but I'm just going to show you what I have been working on since my last Flosstube. So I didn't share any of my current stitching in that Halloween or October planning extra, so you didn't miss anything if you did not watch that one. So this will pick up where my previous Flosstube left off. So the first thing that I worked on was my Flower Dragon Meadow, which is the current mystery stitch along from Flossy Fox Shop. And here is how far I got. So this was part one, the Cherry Blossom Dragon, and now we are working on the Wisteria Dragon. And as you can see, the purple on this is pretty close in tone to my fabric, but since the dragon is mostly outlined in the darker shadow color, I think it looks fine. It's obviously not done yet. I forgot to check my progress to tell you how far I am, but I think I worked on this for 4 days and I got a big chunk of it done. So the clues for this, there are 6 parts and they come out once a month, so I still have time to get caught up on this before the next part comes out. I think it's around like the 10th of the month, so I still have a couple weeks to get this part done. But this is, let me tell you what the fabric is. It is 14 count Ada from Bestitch Me that does not have a name. So I think I got it in like a Friday night fight night. And it is definitely darker than what was called for. So, yeah, but I think you can see here that dragon still pops pretty good. I was a little worried when I started doing the like main purple color on his body, but I think it's fine. Oh, and that little brown bird, that could be an owl. Maybe I can just say that that's an owl on top of him, so that I'm on theme still. It might say in the pattern what bird it actually is, but to me, this little guy is an owl for this month. Okay, and then after I filmed my October plans video, I decided to work on one of my Halloween projects. So I've already changed my plans because I finished one of my projects. So let's see. That looks pretty good. This is Little Urn of Horrors. It is a freebie from Lindy Stitches. You can get it on the Lindy Stitches website. Steph has a section that is like blog and freebies, so I went to make sure it's still there. You have to like scroll back a while because this came out in like 2020 maybe. But here, let me put something behind. Okay. Here's my finish. So I did this 2/2 on this mystery linen, or even weave, I'm not even sure what it is. And I used the called for colors with the exception of this main green. I used one shade lighter, so I think it called for like 780 or something, and I used 781. I don't know exactly what it called for, but all the other colors are the called for DMC. And when I showed this to you last week, I had like part of the urn and one of the little plant tendrils, and that was it. So I stitched the rest of this within the last week. So that frees up another day in October that I was going to have a whip, that now I can have another new start. So that is fun. And what can I say about this? It was, I think I said in the last video that this is one of those deceptive patterns that's way more stitching than it seems like those fill-in areas in the urn and the plant's head are, I mean, they take a while to get through. So I think the finished size of this is supposed to be, like, it's supposed to fit well in a 5x7 frame, and I think it does. But yeah, it just looked smaller to me. Like when I chose it, I thought it would be more like an ornament, and it's bigger than that, even though I could see the dimensions. I don't know. It's just one of those patterns that I thought would go a little quicker than it did. But yeah, it was fun. Would recommend. Okay, and then I decided to pull out one of my round robin pieces. So I started a round robin for Carolyn Manning Bouquet Collection pieces, and I actually was in 2 round robins, so there were 6 people interested, so I was the 4th person in both groups. And one of those round robins we finished a while ago, and the other one is still going, but we are on the 3rd rotation, so there's only one more left after this. And I currently have Rebecca from Beck Stitches Everything. I have her piece. It is called Honeybee Haven, and this is actually the project that I picked for the other round robin, so I got to stitch a quarter of this pattern twice, once for my project and once for Rebecca's, and I finished my section. So is this the right way? Yeah, this is the right way. So I'm not sure what this fabric is. It is a beautiful like lavender linen. I'm not sure if Rebecca told us what it was or not, but it is gorgeous, and we are obviously using the called for DMC shades. And I did the quadrant on the bottom, so this needs to go to Jill still, so that means Rebecca and Jamie stitch the top half and I stitch the bottom part, and Jill will get to finish this one out. Jill is stitching books, and Jamie is nesting seams stitchery. So Jill shared with the group chat that she was done with her portion, and so I figured I would finish mine up and send this to Jill so she could work on this. I think out of all of us, she like travels the most and has stuff going on, so I just want to get this to her so she can get it scheduled in whenever it's convenient for her, but there is no rush. Everybody in this group is super chill. Nobody's in a hurry, so just whenever things work out is fine, which has been very nice. So let's see. So yeah, this is all greens and purples and blues. They all have a lot of green, but this one I think is a little... It seemed like there was more green, like the ratio of green was higher. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I love it. I love the green and the purple fabric. I chose a purpley fabric for mine too, which I think like the mock-up was on like a light lavender background for the pattern. Anyway, I love stitching this. I'm glad I got to do this one twice, and mine was on Ada and Rebecca's is on this nice light linen, so it was fun to stitch it 2 different ways. And I will be mailing this to Jill, so get ready, Jill. Okay. Then on the 21st, which was 2 days ago, I started this thing. It's called Spell of the Moon. It is from this Winds of Autumn Blackbird book, and I believe you could also get this as a standalone pattern, because Erin, 2 Martini Stitcher, reached out and said she had it kitted up, but she just has this single pattern. So I don't know if that's something you can still get or what. But anyway, Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe and I decided to start this on the 21st, and I know a few of you joined us. I know Karen from KBH Stitches joined us, and some of you messaged me that you were also going to join us. So if you did, I hope you are having fun with this stitch. I found a scrap piece of 28 count malachite, which I believe is fiber on a whim. And I just happened to have the called for color for the moon, which is Harvest Moon, very appropriate for this past weekend. I did not do the Harvest Moon hangout with Lindy Stitches, but I did stitch this on Sunday, so I was like sort of there in spirit. So I decided to use this, but the other 2 colors are an overdyed black and an overdyed gray, and I'm using 310 for the black. And my fabric is all rolled up. But this is how far I got on Sunday. I was rocking and rolling on this. I wasn't feeling that good Sunday morning, so I just had I tried to have a calm, stitchy day. So the moon is done, and the yellow color in the owl is done. He still needs to be filled in with the gray. And then the yellow does show up a little bit more, like in the windows of the house and the center of the flowers, I think. So I'm not quite done with that color yet, and I have not decided what gray I want to use. I don't remember what the called for gray is. Oh, I think it's pelican gray, which is like a warm gray, and I think on my fabric I might need a little bit of a cooler gray. So I think I'm just going to try to get all the black done, and then I will decide what to do for the gray. But this has been very fun. I'm doing it 2/2 because it's 28 count. And I wanted to use 310 just because my fabric is on the darker side. I wanted it to really show up. I didn't want it to be blendy. So I just have to figure out the gray. And I have no problem using a DMC because there's not that many stitches in that color. I just need to figure out which one. So that was for the Gonna Be Owl Right stitch along. And then for whatever reason, I'm actually out of order. I pulled this out before the weekend. I decided to get out one of my Long Dog pieces. This is my Long Dog Leap Day start from 2024. So I should be 50% done with this by the end of February 2026, and I am not. So I decided to get this out. I don't know, I just felt like it. So this is Froth and Bubble. This is a band sampler. This is the full width of the piece, which hopefully you're seeing the image. I don't have to say that. And when I pulled this out, I had this one butterfly was already done. The top band was done. These were the first line of the poem was done. This butterfly was done, and a little bit of this black outline. So in the, I don't know if it was like Thursday and Friday before this past weekend. I don't remember what day it was. I finished out the black outline, and then I started doing the blue. So the blue frame that goes around the band, and then the word to, those are new. So now I just get to color this band in, and I think I checked, I was working on this morning. I'm like 22% done. And after this band, the next one is taller, and the center of the chart is in the middle of that band. So I need to finish this and then get at least half of this next one done by February, which is not a problem. Like, this goes pretty quick, but that's the reason that I haven't kept up with it, because I know it doesn't take that long. It's not like Andrew the runner stitcher is doing Saga, and he has to stitch on that like consistently to stay on track. But this one is only, I think it's a little less than 30,000 stitches. So it's not as intense. So because my procrastinating brain knows that, I don't feel like I have to get it out as regularly, but I'm still not where I should have been in February of this year. I'm still not 25% done. So I want to see if I can get, at least get this second band colored in before I put this away again. And this is on, let's see, I think the sticker is still on here. This is 32 count vellum by Picture This Plus, and I'm doing it 2/2. And if you haven't been here before, I bought all of the called for overdyed colors for this, but then I also pulled the DMCs because the overdyed colors were not as bold as I wanted them to be. So for a lot of the colors, I'm using the DMC. Like, I just got both out and I picked whichever one was brighter, basically. And the DMC for this blue is 311, which this blue is much lighter than 311, but I had already bought like 4 skeins of it or whatever, and it's overdyed, so I decided to go with it. And I like it. I'm okay with it not being, it's Presidential Blue is the name of it. It would be nice if it was a little bit darker, but I'm okay with it. I did notice that I think I'm going to run out. I'm going to have to get some more and see if it matches, because I don't think I have enough skeins of Presidential Blue. But we'll see. There might be one hiding somewhere. Okay, and then the last cross-stitch project I have to show you is another new start. Erin, who I already mentioned from Two Martini Stitcher, is doing a year of 100 starts this year to celebrate a milestone birthday. And she shared with us, like at the end of last year, all the things she was planning on starting. And I had some of them in stash already or kitted up, and so I wanted to join her, and this is one of those. So this is Ink Circles, Clouds Over Vierlande, I don't know how to say it. And I loved this chart as soon as I saw it, and I got the Victoria Clayton Silk Pack for this, and then it just sat in my like kitted up projects for quite a while. So thank you, Erin, for giving me the motivation to actually start it. So while I have this out, I'll show you. I decided to do a bottom center start. So I started with this motif here, which reminded me of Garden of Zig, which was like that secret stitch along that I did where we had to pick something that wasn't called for the fabric and the floss and keep it a secret until it was done. That was hosted by the Hathaway Stitchers, and I don't remember. That was fun though. So anyway, that one, like this, not the whole thing. The whole thing doesn't remind me of that, but this particular motif that I did reminded me of that. So I will show you. I got this little floss box, which these bobbins don't actually fit in, but I'm going to show you the colors. Here are my silks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 9 colors. So like these blacks are the same, these 2 greens are the same, these 2 reds, and then this one is like a black and gray dipped silk. So I feel like when you look at the chart, it looks like it's a lot more than that. And I decided to do mine on Grog, which was my May Fabric of the Month from Be Stitch Me, and I get the 36 count linen. So here is my start. I don't know if you can hear Bear snoring, but he's doing little doggy snores. So this fabric is pretty close, I think, to what the fabric in the picture looks like. So I was happy to have this available. The colors of the silk look a little lighter than the colors in the model picture. So I'm not sure if this is one of the times where like the photo was edited and the way that it shows up makes it look a little bolder than it is, or if the conversion is just a little lighter. But I'm happy with how it looks. And also, like, I took a picture of this to post on Instagram, and taking a picture of it makes it look even lighter than it really is. So this is pretty accurate. Like, all the colors show up fine. I think that light green is the one that's the closest to the color of my fabric, or maybe the color of the pot, and they both show up fine. So no worries. I think it's going to be fun. I don't know when I'm going to work on this next, so I did make sure to get that first motif done, but I don't think I'm going to work on it again before October, so we shall see what happens with that. So that is everything that I have stitched on, I think, since the last time that I shared my stitching. I have been knitting a little bit, so I have 2 knitting projects to show you. I had forgotten to pull this chart to show you. This is Fire Burn and Cauldron Bubble, so this is one of the ones I would like to start this year. And I picked out this fabric and stuffed it in there. It's like a purpley gray Ada. Oh, that's not showing up very well. Let me open it. Okay, so that's better. It's just like a purple and gray Ada, and it's not dyed on the back, and it's an odd size piece, but it's 16 count, and this will fit on it. So I think I'm just gonna do 310. It calls for antique black Gloriana silk, but I'll probably just do 310. That way I know it will show up well on here. I'm in a stitch from stash phase, and I don't have any black that would be enough for this aside from 310. So I will just use my cone, and I think it will be a lot of fun. And Kansas City Stitcher Samantha is going to start this with me, and we are starting it on the 13th. So if you would like to join us, if you have this as a whip, or you have one of the other ones in this series, I think there's 4. There's the stickers in the way, but and it's focusing on my face. There's 4 in this series. I don't know which one is under here. So anyway, if you have any of these as whips, or you want to start them with us, the 13th is the day that we're starting these. And then I mentioned in my plans video that I want to do Memento, which is a piece that Donna from Stitch X Love designed for Just Cross Stitch Halloween magazine. I think it's in the 2024 one. It might be in 2025, I don't remember. So Donna saw that I chose that one, and she messaged me and said she had some leftover little corner pieces, and she asked if I wanted these for my piece, and I said sure. So she mailed me these, and she sent what happened to the stickers? There were stickers that I wanted to show you, and they disappeared. Okay, she sent me Quirky Quaker Queen Bee, and the card has like honeycomb looking beehive, so I thought that was cute. And then she sent me 2 stickers. One was Vintage Crafts, Not Vintage Values, the chart that she designed. And then the other one had bats and said something about stitching, and I had them when I walked over here. Maybe I'll find them while I'm going through this stuff. Oh, here they are. Okay. So this one, Vintage Crafts, Not Vintage Values. I've seen several people stitch this. I think it was Elizabeth from Savory Sewing repeated these motifs across the bottom, and she did colors from like some Pyrex that she has. Very cool. I do want to stitch that, but I haven't. And then here's the other one, Stay Spooky with some bats. So thank you so much, Donna. That was awesome. I'm excited to do the stitch and then to use these little corners too. Yeah, good stuff. And I have not actually stitched any of the Quirky Quakers, so I think I grabbed, there's like 1 or 2 freebie ones that I grabbed, I think, but I haven't stitched any of them, so I'm looking forward to that. And then the rest will be knitting content. So if you're not here for that, thank you for watching. It's going to be quick though. So I just wanted to give you an update. I had showed before that I started a pair of socks with this Knit Picks Felici, I don't know how you say it, self-striping yarn called Rustic Cabin, and I have been working away on this. And I was going to mention that with self-striping socks, even if you put in like a heel flap and gusset in the heel flap in a contrast color, when you stitch like the gusset, the width of your stripes will change because you're stitching more stitches per round. So your stripes will get skinnier around where the heel is, and then they'll go back to normal when you get to the foot if your leg has the same number of stitches in around it as your foot. So a way to get around that is to do an afterthought heel. So you just stitch your stripes as normal until your sock is long enough to where you want to put the toe in, and then you just go back and put the heel in afterwards. So you can't do a heel flap and gusset, but you can do like fish lips kiss heel or short row heel or whatever one of those styles of heel. So that's what I'm going to do, because I don't want the stripes to be squished around where my ankle is, if that makes sense. So yeah, this isn't very exciting to look at, but I've made it all the way through the color repeat now, and I will just keep going until it's long enough. If you're going to do an afterthought heel, there's a way where you can put in like 2 rows of scrap yarn that you can then pick out and do your heel that way. Or for people who have like a sock tube cranker machine, like they don't do that. They just crank the whole tube and then you cut out some of the actual knitting to put the heel in. So I haven't decided if I want to try that, or I might just put some waste yarn in the middle of this stripe and put the heel in the middle of this orange. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. I haven't started the second sock yet. Just vanilla sock land from mindless hand stuff. And then the other project that I pulled out to work on is completely opposite. So this pattern is called Ariel, and it is by Sari Nordland, and it is a tank top that is knit bottom up. So this is basically the hem of the tank top, and I don't know if you can see, this is like a pretty complicated lace pattern. So this lace repeats as many times as you need to until your tank top is the length you want it, and then you do the straps. And I am using this Sand Nisgarn Duo, which is a cotton blend. It's 55% cotton and 55%, no, sorry, 55% merino, 45% cotton, I think. Yes. For some reason I was trying to read the Norwegian words instead of the English that was right below it. But yes, 55% merino wool, 45% cotton. So if you've ever tried to knit with cotton, it can be sort of terrible. Like if you're making dishcloths or something, like just the feel of it on your fingers and also on the needles can be icky. But this does not give me that icky feeling. So I would not say that this is necessarily a beginner-friendly pattern, but it is just a lace repeat that goes all the way around. So I don't know if you can see, but I have a kajillion little stitch markers. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So every, let's see, it's a 16 stitch lace chart that just repeats around and around, and then you just go back to the beginning and keep knitting it until you get to the length you want. So if you want to try lace, there's not, as far as like a lace garment goes, this one is kind of on the easier side because I don't think you have to do anything tricksy with like seams or shoulders or anything like that, because you're just knitting a tube and then you put like the straps. So maybe it would be, but you have to be comfortable reading the chart, I think, and being able to fix mistakes in lace like this can be kind of scary. So I would say intermediate at least if you want to try a pattern like this. And I believe I originally signed up to do this as a test knit, and obviously it has been released for a while and I never finished it, so I would like to finish that sometime. Okay, and then the last thing I want to show you is a knitting style stitchy kindness. So Woolens and Nosh is a yarn dyer who does self-striping yarn, and last year they did this Advent sock kit that you could buy where there are 24 different colored stripes. So the idea is they give you 2 matching balls of yarn that are already caked up, and they come inside here. So there's a little snap in the middle, so you can have one coming out this way and one coming out this way, and you don't have to look and see what the colors are. And you just knit like one stripe every day of December leading up to Christmas on each sock, and so the colors of the stripes are revealed to you throughout the month. So my mom bought me this last year, and I grabbed the socks, and you'll have to just ignore the dog hair that's on some of them. Not some of them, the dog hair that is on them. So this was the Advent skein from last year. So I did not do toe up. I don't know why I was going to say it started with this green. It started with this purple and then went through all the days, and you get mini skein for the heels and toes, I think. So anyway, my mom got her and I the Advent calendar from Woolens and Nosh for 2025 as well, and it just came in. So it came with this sticker. So this is like the mood board, I guess, for this year's Advent, and it has the same bag with a snap in the middle, and you can see this is how it comes. So we're starting with brown instead of black this time. So I don't know if that means the stripes are going to be broken up again by this brown, or if they're just going to flow into each other. I'm not sure. I haven't looked inside. But this time the bag has this cool graphic on it, and there's a little thing I can scan for info. I think last year my mom got this was like a Tarhi nylon base. I'm not sure if it's the same this year or if it's merino. I guess I can scan for info. But these will be fun to knit in December again, and I will probably be sharing that. So I thought that was fun. I'm not sure if this is something you can still get. Probably not. She probably closed pre-orders like a long time ago so she could dye everything. But if you're interested in self-striping sock yarn, Woolens and Nosh is a fun place to get some. I feel like if you are interested in self-striping sock yarn, you probably already have a lot, and you probably already know about Woolens and Nosh, but if you don't, you could check them out. So I think that is everything that I have for you. I was trying to think if I wanted to squeeze in any more new owl starts before the end of the month, but I think I have another round robin that I need to work on, so I shared it last time, I think. It's the Ink Circles round robin that I'm in, hosted by Donna of Stitch X Love, and I have Turtles All the Way Down, which is Link is my homeboy. Is that right? Link is my homeboy on Instagram. It's their piece, and it's a quick, like, the turtle is small, like, I could stitch it probably in a day. I just haven't done it yet. So I got my Carolyn Manning round robin done. I need to get my Ink Circles round robin done so I can move that along. But I think I want to keep going on Froth and Bubble. I also kind of want to finish Spell of the Moon. And I was thinking, I finished Little Urn of Horrors, so Spell of the Moon could take its place next month, and I could just make that, I put that on my whip wheel since it is Halloween-y if I don't get it done. But I wanted to get it done before I filmed this video, but then I jumped around too much, so we'll see. And yeah, today's the 23rd, so I will probably film one more regular Flosstube at the end of the month just to wrap up the end of September so that we can start fresh in October with my wheel spinning and my different whip or new start every day. So I should see you one more time before that, and I will say that I hope this month, the end of this month, treats you well, and that you are taking time to take care of yourself, and that you can take some of Bear's super chill energy with you. And I hope that I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.